Welcome to another installment of Conversation. Today, I want us to talk about something along the lines of what we've been discussing in past weeks, regarding Africa, but we're going to talk about leadership in Africa. Because Africa's problem is not that there are no people competent or there are no people willing to work, but it's mostly comes down to the leadership. And here is the problem. In Africa, because our problem is leadership, we tend to either appoint the wrong person, the right position, or the right person in the wrong position. I will explain. Well, I'm going to start with a story, of something that happened a short while. I was sitting with a lady, a friend of mine, who's from one country, and then they've just had election, and then there was this president who was elected. So, I did a little bit of background check on him. Obviously, he had like he had history, Then I spoke with this lady and then asked her, so what is your perception of this man being elected as president of your country? What do you think? Then she proceeded to tell me that, yes, he was, there was nobody else better than him, to run the country at that time. And then he was going to do good. Then I referred her to his history, and then I mentioned that, okay, he has history of having done this, and this, and that. Then she tells me that, yes, of course, he's done that, but I would like to give him a chance. So according to me, whatever has happened before, we leave it in the past, and let's see how he's going to do from now. But the question is, you are elected to an office, and obviously you come with a CV and history. Shouldn't that matter in a sense? But I understood her. I knew she had some affiliations or she had affinity with him, so she couldn't really, say anything bad about him. But you see, that's the problem, This man, at least according to his past, is the wrong person to be the president. But again, because for a reason or another, he can manage to sway vote in his direction, we choose to omit or to forget about that. And that's a big red flag. And those are red flags. He's not supposed to be in office, because if he's done that, you're telling me that all of a sudden that because now he's president, he's going to change. It's not going to happen. And these are the people that end up dragging countries down the ground, you appoint a businessman to run a country, for instance, in another country. Now he's a businessman, and to him everything is about give and take, transaction. It's transactional. And then we are surprised that these men now want to privatize national companies. He's a businessman, he deals, that's what he does. I'm not saying businessmen should not be president, but I'm just saying, because of who they are, it could be the wrong person for the job, And then, you're surprised that he as a businessman, elected president of the country, he keeps money under his mattress in some of his farms. Hey, he must be thinking as a businessman, like, I gotta have some savings with me. So, well, anyway, leaving that aside, the other reason why the leadership fails is not because it's the wrong person in the right place. It's because, not because it's the, yes, not because it's the wrong person in the right place. It's the right person, but in the wrong place. I will explain. I am very good at running things, at least I think, or some people also think, running maybe from companies or maybe organizations and things like that. I'm very good at running things. But then now, imagine, because I have this credibility of having the knowledge to run things. I'm put to running ER, an emergency, you know, um, thing in the hospital. What do you think is going to happen? It doesn't matter how good I am. It doesn't matter how great I am at running things, but I will create chaos. Why? Because I have no understanding of how ER works, or hospital in general. I mean, imagine putting me in a surgery room and there's like 5, 6, 7 patients right there laying, and then telling me, no, we want you to run and organize all these patients. I don't even know who has to go first. One needs a heart transplant, this one is bleeding to death, and this one is probably needs a toe surgery or something, and this one probably just needs I don't know. But who do I start with? I have no idea, because this is not my field. Yes, I'm good at running things, but I'm in the wrong place. You see, that's the problem with leadership in Africa. I'll give you an example. For instance, somebody can be a mechanic, a very great mechanic. He's good at fixing cars. Nothing escapes his skills, in terms of car mending and reparation. But now you telling me that because this man who's a mechanic is excellent at this job, all of a sudden he qualifies to run a garage repair? I don't think so. He might be good at changing tires and changing oil brakes and stuff, but that doesn't mean that he can handle running a garage. Now you take somebody like that, he's the very best that we have here in this garage, and then you appoint him in a level of incompetence. He is very competent at what he does, but you're putting him right where he has no idea how things work. He doesn't know how to pay bills of the salon. He doesn't know how to handle the haircon invoices. He doesn't know, he's not knowledgeable about running a place. He's good at fixing things, fixing the car, but he's not good at running the garage, a garage. But again, when you put him in there, you expect him to fail. You're setting him up for failing because he has no managerial skills. That's the problem. We have politicians who are very great at things, at what they do, but then because they are so good at that, and then you take them and then you put them in a position that obviously they will fail with brilliance. For instance, you take a qualified doctor, a medical doctor, PhD and all, he's very good. His place is in a hospital. And you appoint him as a Minister of Defense, for instance. Let me tell you something, in case you're not expecting it. In times of war, you are going to have casualties. Or you're going to rack up casualties like crazy. It's a good thing he's a doctor, he's a doctor, so he can deal with casualties, but you are going to rack up casualties. Because this man, who is a competent doctor, is very incompetent at Ministry of Defense. Or again, let's say for instance, you take the very same guy, and then he's a great doctor. Instead of appointing him in something medically related, you appoint him as a Minister of Home Affairs. What do you think is going to happen? Let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to have shutdowns. You're going to have backlogs. You're going to have wrong policies. You're going to have all the wrong things you're not expecting. And, in my opinion, policy making is not for the faint-hearted. It's not a walk in the park. I think it might be one of the most dangerous and hazardous job given to anybody to make policies. All it takes is a single mistake as a policymaker, and then we're going to have a snowball effect all over the place. Now you have this doctor, medical doctor, and then you're setting him up as a Home Affairs officer, and then he starts making policy. what do you think is going to happen? Whatever he's making as policy, thinking in his medical mind is right, is actually going to be detrimental to the country in the long run, or even short run. It's going to be detrimental because he doesn't have the required skills to make those decisions. He is competent at his in his field, but he's very incompetent at running something else. And that's the problem. You know, we appoint leaders in Africa because of affiliations, because of tribes, because of belief. We are not objective to say that this man here, as much as I know him, cannot be in this position. No, it's not that. And then we are surprised when things and system fail. I think we have the leaders that we deserve. And it's right about time that, you know, we become very conscious about who we want at what place. Because that really is key in keeping our civilization alive and developing Africa, and Africa becoming independent. You have somebody, for instance, who's very good at who sucks, and all he does is he's never had a successful business or a successful thing. He's never succeeded anything. And then you take him and then you put him to run a power plant. All that because, you know, he's loyal to you. What do you think is going to happen to the power plant? Great collapse. That's the problem. So we need to start thinking, you know, out of the bubble here, and then become objective and understand that, you know, the leadership problem in Africa is so profound, but only we as the people can change it by appointing the right person in the right position. You know, no hard feelings. Again, you know, don't take it personally. This is just a thought. This is just what I was thinking to myself, you know, a couple of days, and then I think it can find sounding boards across the continent. And again, it's not necessarily applicable to Africa only. This can be applied anywhere in the world, you know, whether it's the United States or Europe or South America or Australia. I mean, you know, you will appoint a president who's got dementia, who can't even remember where he comes from. He just walked out of, and then, you know, you have him to set up policies of war, and then now their spending are just going up the roof, you know, going all the way up the roof, and no valid explanation. I mean, there is no explanation that can substantiate the expenditure, you know. Not as if there are no priorities, but, you know, it's the wrong person. But because of allegiance, we're keeping him there. And we know good and well that he doesn't really belong there. Anyway, those are the thoughts that I had for you now. And I would like to hear feedback from you. But first, subscribe, like, share, and introduce the conversation to your circle and to everybody that you think, to people that you think might be interested in what we talk about, you know. So yes, you know, this is still very much, you know, something that I picked up through my travels, and then, you know, I'm gonna hit the road again, but I just wanted to digest it with you, the audience, and people who follow what we do. And then thank you very much for joining us. Until next time, take care.